So for me, it's always being able to improve. It's always being able to maintain sanity and happiness at the same time, and just being a great human being while walking through life and living this sport, because it's an amazing sport. It's an amazing lifestyle, but one does need to understand control. There are a lot of people doing this that shouldn't be. Lots. And I get it. They come into this for many, many different reasons, but the truth of the matter is that if you're doing cardio, if you're training, or you're driving to the gym and it's not what you want to do, your heart is not in it. And if your heart is not in it, you can't expect to prevail in this sport. You don't play boxing. You either punching or you getting punched. One of the two. And chances are there's always going to be both. So you're going to get hit. It's not a game. This is bodybuilding. This is not a game. You don't play bodybuilding. You get into that fucking gym and you destroy it. You kill yourself in there so you can showcase it for a couple of minutes, once, two, maybe 3 times a year. Okay? So for me, it was more of a personal, it was always personal for me. It was never about the money. It was never about the accolades. It was always personal for me. How can I get myself to the next step? With me, just me. Not him, not them, not just me. How can I get to the next step? And again, although being one of the older guys in my group, I was a student. I still remain a student. I still ask questions. I see something great, I sit down and I watch and I focus and I ask how and why. You have to be humble enough to do that. And when you see somebody that looks amazing or is doing some incredible things, it's not about trying to shorten that man's or that woman's ability to do what they do, because that's another thing you see so much nowadays. You see somebody doing some amazing things. It's got to be because of this. It's got to be because of that. It's never about, wow, that dude is just amazing. Brother, can I ask you a question? How do you do that? Like, what did it take to get there? I really would like to know. And sincerely taking that information and listening. Don't ask just to ask. Don't ask to just pretend like we're having a conversation. Ask because you really, really want to learn. Because if you don't want to learn, then just don't ask. This is not a game. This is a sport. This is an extreme sport. Extreme sport that people are playing around with too much. And that's why you're seeing more and more of the complaining and my metabolism getting messed up and so on and all these things. Why? You know how many people I've come across that when you ask some of the basic fitness questions, they have no clue. But you want to get on one of the hardest, you want to get into one of the most difficult sports there is on this planet. You're not doing the research, you're not studying. There's so much that comes with being able to do this, from what you eat, from what you take, to how you train. It's all different for everyone. And you have to find what works for you. But nobody wants that. They want somebody else to tell them what works for them. Last year, getting ready for the New York Pro 2018, which is where I was planning on rectifying the decision from 2017, which I thought I came in pretty good. It was just the average day. We went to Costco's, me, Yashaira, the kids, we went to Costco's. I did my usual protein bundle, steak, chicken, and so on. And that day I said, you know what? I feel like spoiling myself a little bit. Let's pick up some filet mignons. So we picked up about 5 pounds of filet mignon, and I cook here. I'm the chef. Yashaira cooks for me when it's time for prepping, but when it's time for cooking for the family as a whole, that's when I tend to put on the apron and enjoy myself. I love cooking. I love seeing my kids and my wife eat my food. But through prepping food, oftentimes comes a lot of multitasking. And it was just the average evening, seasoning my steaks and getting them on the actual rack, and I started broiling my steaks in the oven. I had sprayed some Pam on the grill that I was using for the steaks before I started making the food, and set it right off to the side of the stove, maybe about, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet away from the stove. And apparently the can went under pressure, I guess because of some heat. There was nothing on top that, you know, if my arms can be in that area, it wasn't anything that was that severely hot, because I wasn't cooking anything on top of the stove. And this I want to make very, very clear. There was nothing getting cooked on top of the stove. I was broiling steaks in the oven. So, after maybe about 10-15 minutes of the steaks being cooked, I went to go check, and that's when I kind of heard a strange, like I just heard like a strange sound. You don't know where it's coming from. And before you know it, boom! Sounded like an IAD went off. And the can went under pressure, it exploded. And it just so happened to happen when I was checking the steaks, which means that the oven door was open. So as the can burst, I guess the flame from the actual oven being on allowed it to turn into this ball of fire. And within 2 seconds, my life changed. I burned the top of my head. I had 2nd-degree burns on the top of my head, 2nd and 3rd on my whole entire shoulder, arm, elbow, hand. And, but that wasn't it. You get so hot that my only instinct was to just jump away. And in the process of jumping away, I landed sideways into my shoulder, eventually requiring me to have shoulder surgery as well. So from just making steak and getting ready for a bodybuilding contest, I went from that to, you know, to not being able to do absolutely nothing for a long period of time. But that's not where it ends. As an athlete, you depend on your physicality. And when your physicality gets distorted, injured, whatever can taint your physicality or your ability to perform, it was heart-wrenching. But typical man, I can deal with this. I got this. I realized that I started spiraling into a hole, kind of feeling like where I was at many, many years before. And even contemplating, thinking how I thought many, many years before. Not being able to tell my wife. Because I didn't want her to worry. I didn't want her to panic or think that anything else bad was going to happen. But the truth of the matter is that I went into a state of depression that was unbearable. I would sit in that corner for days on end with my kids, my wife here, and it's like I wasn't here. You know, and then you see the people going into the gym and doing what they do, and you see your peers move on. You see everybody, you know, continuing their life, and I felt like for a second, shit is going kind of backwards. Things are going backwards. And it didn't feel good at all. But I thought I can fix it. I thought I can handle it. I thought this would pass. It's just a feeling. It's just a moment. Until you start thinking things that you know are not normal. You start thinking about your dying day a little bit more frequently. What if? Thinking that most people would say, are you fucking crazy? What are you, stupid? What the hell is wrong with you? Wake the fuck up. Oh no. Oh no. Mental health went out the window. It went out the window off of getting hurt. But, you know, as an athlete, also, we exercise a lot. Our visual, we predict a lot. And this is how we know where we're going. We know what we're going to do. We know how we're going to do it. We have complete control. That's what we do. Fucking control. And to have lost all that control in a second made me feel like I died and somebody else was here. To the very point that you start thinking, am I worth it? You know, is this all I'm good for? Is this all I can do? You know, it got extremely difficult off of one particular accident. And it took some time to start to reanalyze what had happened. And until I didn't start to accept the fact that it was just an accident. And it happens to everybody. Maybe very differently, but everybody goes through some shit. And I had to backtrack in remembering that I too went through some shit and got out. But the message I guess I want to send is to all those that feel exactly how I felt at that time, who feel like, I don't think I'll ever be as good as I was. I don't think I'll ever be as big as I was. No, man. I had to remember that what got me to this very point was the bad shit in my life. So, after that, I honestly started to accept that I wasn't going to compete again. We're going to retire. That's it. It's over. I didn't like the taste of that. It just didn't taste right. And because of that, the depression started to set in a lot more and more and more and more. The crazy part is that you go to the doctor and you talk to him about this, and it's so easy for them to give you a bunch of medicine. Take this and take that, you'll relax and feel better. Feel like killing yourself, call us. What I needed was the complete opposite. I didn't need no drugs. I needed to talk to somebody. I needed to get that shit out. I needed to get some clarity again. I needed to rethink myself out the hole. Because what happened after the accident is that I thought myself into a hole. I exercised my way back down. And it took almost a whole year for me to exercise my way back out. And how did that happen? I'll be very honest with you. Working with my clients, pushing my clients. And when I say working with my clients, I mean just, in terms of diets, in terms of guiding them to where is it they need to be and what they need to do. How can you talk the talk if you don't walk the walk? That was always been a big part of my mentality. And that's when we made the decision that I would retire at the New York Pro. So that was the first initial step. I had to start setting myself up to get back out that hole. How did I do that? I started to commit myself to certain individuals. I think I'm gonna do this show. I think I'm gonna do that show. Just slowly putting little seeds out there. So when these people see me, oh, you still doing the show? I would start getting a lot more of this. And eventually it started to rearrange my thinking again into why I should and why I needed to. And lo and behold, what became me just trying to prove something to myself, I realized that the message was just so much bigger. And the message today is that if you want it, go ahead and get it. Go and get it. There's nobody that's here to say that you can't. The only person that can say you can't is you. I've been blessed to have amazing people around me. I've been blessed to perform the way that I do and to think the way I think. Because average thinking wasn't enough. I needed to really think outside the box in both aspects, bad and good. And my wife, you know, I've worked with a lot of people, and I've heard so many and listened to so many scenarios of relationships and how difficult it can be for other people as opposed to me or somebody else. And my wife is just like, then let's get it then. Let's get it then, puppy. When I didn't even say, let's get it then, I would have been content with her just saying, no, you could just take it easy. You don't need to. I love you. That would have been enough for me. She said, then let's get it then. And she's, like I said, she's been the backbone to this whole entire, you know, a lot of people may think I'm a 5-star general. If there's a 6-star general, she's fucking it. And she said, well, I will make all your food. I will do whatever I need to do. I will do overtime if I have to. Just so you can get in there and do what you gotta do one more time. And that's exactly what we managed to do. Now, did I expect to get here the way I am now? No. Why? Because I told myself it was my last show. But I had to rethink that. And I had to rethink it in a way where I woke up and I would say, if it's gonna be your last one, then make it a fucking nasty one. And that thinking and thinking and thinking, I kept looking in the mirror every single morning, like, all right. Because I'm a judge. I judge shows too. I know what's required up there. I've seen broken guys up there. And I refuse to be one of those broken guys up there, still trying to hang on by the last thread. No. I have way too much respect for the individuals that do this and show up there and give it all they got, for me to not do the exact same thing. But lo and behold, it's almost like God said, you know what, I'm gonna surprise you a little bit. Here you go. And quite honestly, I really feel like I'm coming in at my very fucking best. Actually, the main thing I want to do is say thank you to my sponsors, Betancourt Nutrition. You guys could have let me go 1,000 times over. You held on to me. And I am forever grateful for every month that passes by, allowing me to still be a part of Team Betancourt. As an athlete, I understand that my physicality plays a major role in our business together. And you guys, as a whole, chose to keep me and my wife, regardless of the circumstances. And I just want to let you know how grateful I am for the opportunity to represent such an amazing group of people, such an amazing supplement company who unleashes some of the very best products I've ever had. You guys are dope, you guys are solid, and you guys are grade A in my book. I thank you as an athlete. I thank you, but even more as a husband, as a father with 2 kids. I thank you 1,000 times over for trusting in me and being able to get the job done. And I'm going to show you in 2 more days, come May 18th. MD Latino, what can I say about you, kid, brother? Because of you, our names are being heard worldwide. And that is an amazing, amazing accomplishment for me. This little Spanish kid from the Bronx who came from nothing and went through so much to be able to be known in different parts of the world, all because of guys like you who spread the message and spread the videos and spread what we do as a whole to the whole entire planet, making this planet so much better. I thank you for what you do. MD Latino, you fucking rock. You guys are number 1. Gracias a todo mi gente de MD Latino, a la comunidad de la gente latina, Suramérica, Puerto Rico, mi gente, los quiero con todo mi corazón, Santo Domingo, DR, la gente cubana, toda la comunidad latina, mi Colombia, que hace tiempo no ha regresado. Si Dios quiere, quizás damos una vueltita otra vez a hacer un tour con ustedes. Pero de mi parte, quiero darles las gracias a todos ustedes por el soporte y por el amor que me ha dado en todos estos años. Y si Dios quiere, en 2 días más, mayo 18, en el New York Pro, representamos la comunidad latina y lo que puede ser el latino. Cuando las cosas están bajas, cuando las cosas están malas, nosotros sabemos siempre superar. Si tú te encuentras en una situación mala, enfermo, roto, herido, yo quiero que tú sepas que contra tal uno puede lograr. Haz las cosas bien, de mente, de corazón, dile a Dios siempre gracias, no solo cuando las cosas están malas, sino cuando las cosas están buenas. Decirle las gracias para que tú veas que nuestro Dios nos va a seguir superando y si Dios quiere, lograremos todo lo que queremos en nuestras vidas. Que Dios los bendiga a todos. Muchísimas gracias a IFBB Pro Marco Rivera. Llegamos al 2019 New York Pro. 2 días más. Vamos a ver lo que pasa. Gracias.